You brought BBI. I mean, we have to end this show, but we really need to say something about it. And Francis, I'll start with you. So 11 counties so far. We've seen like a really dramatic week because, I mean, if you look at the speed at which now the counties are passing it, because we saw Siaya, we saw Kisumu, Homa Bay, and then there was a little bit of a lull. Then we came and Busia started kind of the new round. And you know,
today, how many? 4.
So today, today we had Kisii, we had Vihiga, we had Nairobi, and Laikipia. And next week I know we will have probably if things go the way they are going, who knows? Maybe 24 might just be.
I heard Nyeri County, the MCA who's in charge of the Legal Affairs Committee saying by the 23rd, which should be next Tuesday, that they will make a decision on that. They've begun the public participation exercise, but she was very categorical and said by Tuesday there will be a decision one way or another.
Actually, I foresee a scenario where, particularly the Mount Kenya region counties, I think the 9 of them, with the exception of Laikipia today, probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe they will have made a decision on the bill. And the difficulty is not in getting the county assemblies to support the bill. By the look of things and how the numbers are playing out, I think we would have closed your eyes and clearly said, this county is going to vote yes, this county is going to vote no. Maybe the only county that surprised people a little bit was West Pokot County. But virtually the other 10, how they have voted, of course, together with Baringo, it was rather expected. Next week, let's see how it plays out. But by the look of things, maybe it will be a complete game by probably next week. But now, this is where the real journey begins, because if you're to get 24 county assemblies, whatever happens in the National Assembly and the Senate is immaterial, because 24 county assemblies means a referendum.
But then there's the courts. So what happens? Yeah,
there's the courts. Actually, that's what I'm coming to. The courts will also have a role to play. But the bigger discussion is with the people of Kenya, the people who will be voting, because that's where the numbers are. But now there's also an interesting bit. If the turnout is low, for example, if you have, let's say, 10%, 20%, 30% turnout, there's no threshold that 50% plus 1 or this number of people must vote. As long as it's a simple majority, even if 1 million people or 2 million people or 5 million people turn up to vote on the referendum day, if that day will be determined, regardless of how they vote, as long as a simple majority say yes, the constitution will be changed. On Sunday in Nyandarua, I listened to former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri say something very interesting that probably may have sold the game, so to say. He gave a very interesting analogy about a person holding a grasshopper. And I think Roba has that bite that he can play it.
Or a fry. It is you who has the power to say whether it is alive or dead. Hawa watu wana nguvu ya kusema BBI imepita ama haikupita, kwa sababu ndio wako na agent, ndio wako na clerks na kila kitu. So don't think that losing ati no ikiruhusu BBI ati mumeshinda. We are not stupid. Tunajua mmeshikilia kila kitu, nyinyi ndiye mtakuwa clerk, nyinyi ndiye mtakuwa returning officers, lakini Wakenya wameelezewa ukweli.
Does that sound like, guys, it's a losing battle? Sounds like. The state machinery that the former agriculture CS is talking about, is it real or imagined? It's real. We've seen cabinet ministers, we've seen PSs, drawn support for BBI.
Provincial
and there's also an interesting one that he said, for example, the training of agents. If there are no agents, for example, if we get to a yes-no kind of a setup, if there are no agents, who will take the bill for the no team? Is it IBC? Is it who will fund it? And is it a worthy cost to spend, let's say, 5 billion or 2 billion or 3 billion to contest? I think, in my opinion, he sold the game, guys. I don't know what you think, Linus.
But what happens, Linus? I mean, will this BBI thing say anything about our politics? I mean, we've seen, whereas the DP side has not fronted itself as the formal face of the no campaign, but there's a sense in which they are being associated with opposition to BBI as currently is. What will there be anything, I mean, that is there to be interpreted based on how the various counties vote. Some of them are seen to be leaning towards this or that candidate. Do you think that's going to be some analysis that people will sit and say, look, this county voted this way, and therefore probably that used to judge political clout or even political messaging going forward?
You see, Joe, there is a way 2022 is shaping the BBI debate. And you just need to look at Baringo as an example when they had all this chaos. None of that chaos that we saw there, none of their differences is about the content of BBI. It has everything to do with the political machinations on the ground at the moment. The supremacy battles between William Ruto and Gideon Moi. You look at a region like Central Kenya, until Sagana, when President Uhuru Kenyatta went there was a lot of confusion in that region as to what the BBI is all about. Is it about Raila Odinga? Is it about 2022? And I think there is some clarity that is starting to come after the Sagana meeting. But in the end, it's also not helping that we somehow have two formations that are having disagreements. Like we've seen the former CS for Agriculture saying, you know, you are going to decide the outcome of this anyway. You have the bird in your hands. By the way, in other places, it's normally the bird in the hand, not the grasshopper. But of course, he's from the Minister of Agriculture very recently. You know, we've had issues with
the locusts
and locusts.
Taking pictures and all that.
Yes.
Oh,
and this is the situation we find ourselves in. There'll still be that contest between 2022 and the BBI. There are those who will look at BBI with lenses of 2022. So if you are pro-Ruto, you'll be voting against BBI. If you are pro-Raila Odinga, then you are voting for BBI.